in Ann Arbor.
Ann Arbor.
Ann Arbor?
Ann Arbor.
I've never been to Michigan. Do you know whose this was?
That's Mommy's.
It was Mommy's. Mommy is our great-grandmother. This is my sister, Jennifer. There are 5 of us, so this is only one of my siblings. And you don't like cameras?
No.
So we begged her to come on here because we're talking vintage. We have a vintage recipe, and you like vintage so much that your whole kitchen's up. I have to thank the Spartanburg Herald for talking about this vlog right here. It's just a silly little thing I do for my kitchen. And also our friends in Ann Arbor, Michigan, who included us in Ann Arbor.
Ann Arbor.
Ann Arbor?
Ann Arbor.
Ann Arbor, Michigan, who included us on Recipe Haven. We're talking vintage. I've got some of my favorite vintage pieces right here. These were not my great-grandmother's, but they look like hers, don't they?
Just like them.
Yeah, I found those. What was your favorite thing about Mommy? Like, what do you remember, a memory?
Her and her sugar bread. The white loaf bread, butter, and white sugar. Everything horrible. But I can remember her making those for a
Sounds
snack.
good.
Look, if you eat a Twinkie, you can't talk about that, but it was. I mean, it was a sugar and butter sandwich.
It was.
Mm.
That, and she'd sing
She would
little
sing.
songs.
She
And
would
add her
sing.
name to them.
Well, I remember her singing an old Woody Guthrie song. Years later, I would come to love Woody Guthrie, but at the time, I didn't know that song was a Woody Guthrie song. So, well, we'll play some of that song. Maybe a little bit.
Down the road, see the Sally coming. I thought to my soul I'd see her running. Strawberry pie, gooseberry pudding, give it all away to see Miss Sally Gooden. Strawberry pie, gooseberry pudding, give it all away to see Miss Sally Gooden. Had a piece of pie and I had a piece of pudding, but I give it all away.
The original recipe calls for Crisco. I know. And I've even used butter-flavored Crisco because I love the buttery taste. But it's not real butter. I mean, that's butter-flavored. And it says 0 trans fat. But I'm going to link a website that shows you kind of the ugly truth about how they can get away with saying it's 0 trans fat. So here's what we're going to do. Half a batch with butter, you know, the real stuff. And a half a batch with
That's the right way.
It's kind of a tablespoon. I like vanilla. I promise you, that's an accurate measurement, right there. All right, that's baking soda, and then we also have baking powder. And I was a bad girl. I didn't do the dry ingredients all together and then the wet ingredients all together, but it's all together. First dough is using Crisco, and then our second dough will be using butter. And we'll see which one turns out the best. I like to use a wine glass as a cookie cutter. And another one to listen to my sister's stories. So you don't use a wine glass for a cookie cutter. What do you use? Come on, you gotta get in the camera.
One like this, or I have an old cookie cutter. Or if it's Christmas when we use them.
And technically, if you're using a wine glass and it breaks, you've just ruined the entire batch. But that's living on the edge, right? So,
Sure.
cheers. Let's roll this. Am I right?
Yes.
Don't make them thin. We don't want a cookie. We want a tea. Cake. So we're going to leave these about like that. Does that look okay?
Looks good.
Little trick. You get flour on your. Oh, she hates the fact I'm using a wine glass.
I do it
Just
for the
say it.
put ahead too.
Just say it.
But you're right.
I'm just afraid of the glass breaking.
Oh, the
Twist
glass
it.
breaking. Okay. Children, do not use a wine glass at home.
This gives a sharper edge.
Okay, let's try yours.
Yeah.
Okay, it works better. And it makes a bigger cookie. And it's vintage.
That's right.
Fits in with our theme today.
Look down the road, see my Sally coming. Thought to my soul I'd kill myself for running. I look down the road to see my Sally coming. I thought to my soul I'd kill myself for running.
A recipe, if you would, and you know it's a good one because my recipe card looks like it's got 10 layers of ingredients right on top of it. We're making tea cakes.
That's it?
Honestly,
Only thing.
the best way is plain, okay? Plain with coffee or a cup of tea. But if you're going to put anything on them, and at Christmas time, we usually end up... What are you snickering about? Because you're... Okay, do more than one or it looks like something else. But, what did I say? What coming out of your hair? You put one in the middle, it's going to look like something anatomical. We don't want to do that. But this is your favorite way,
Favorite.
with the red hot.
One in every bite.
Okay, did you like how you completely ignored the last conversation?
Down the road, see my Sally coming. Strawberry pie, gooseberry pudding, give it all away to see my Sally Gooden. Strawberry pie, gooseberry pudding, give it all away to see my Sally Gooden. Had a piece of pie and I had a piece of pudding, but I give it all away to see my Sally Gooden. Had a piece of pie and I had a piece of pudding, I give it all away to see my Sally Gooden.